Thank you very much for joining me for this session of Dr. Plotzker's Mind. Cleaning out and reorganizing my pantry uh, takes some effort. One of the great features of my house, uh, going back to when we bought it 45 years ago, uh, was the closet space in the kitchen, something that is needed uh, for a kosher kitchen that has two sets of dishes and make some separation uh, between meat and dairy. I've had to add quite a lot of storage space in the form of wheeled carts, but one of the very attractive features uh, that was built into the house has been a spacious pantry at the edge of the kitchen. Being a bit of hoarders, we fill it up very quickly. Stuff goes in, very little goes out. Um, I spent a few months trying to get it organized. At the very top, I have spirits, quite a lot of spirits, some dating back many decades. These are mostly not very frequently used, uh, so they go on top. I have a few things that I recycle from one Passover to another, mostly specialty vinegars. Those also go on top, retrieved every spring when I need them with a step ladder. And then I have multiple shelves, plus floor space used for other things. Organizing can create a bit of a challenge. Um, very few things that I use come from cans. I much prefer frozen vegetables, except for beans. Beans do very well as a can. They also keep forever. I get gifts of flavoring, those go on the second shelf. Sure enough, it gets cluttered with condiments that never quite get used up. That shelf stands at eye level, so it's prime real estate, as is the shelf below that. There are two staples that I keep in that prime area. Front and center, coffee. I don't keep massive amounts of coffee, usually two uh, containers of ground coffee, one in a can, one in a bag. I have some coffee beans that have never been ground. And my wife has a liking of decaf, which never quite gets used up. I've moved most of those from the bags uh, to a place next to our Keurig machine in hopes of encouraging their use, though I suspect they are currently far beyond their prime. To the right of that shelf, the one that has occupied my attention most recently has been a collection of tea. There was a time in our younger years when we consumed more tea than we do now, mostly herbal tea. I still buy it, especially when it goes on sale. Celestial tea seasoning has been my favorite. I even visited their factory on a trip to Denver a number of years ago. I never quite use it up. So boxes of different flavors just kind of stay there. They accumulate. They don't go bad. At one time, other brands uh, in individual packets, such as Wasatski, which is a Passover staple, and Bigelow, go on sale. Those do not seem as attractive to me, and therefore they get used once or twice but never go to completion. And then we have black tea bags and green tea bags and a variety of loose teas with enough tea infusers. This takes up about a third of that prime space, which rarely ever gets used. I took it all out to the kitchen table only to find other things behind it that I had to throw out. Still salvageable is a whole pail of popcorn, probably purchased from the Scouts for one of their fundraisers, either never opened or rarely opened, but with an indefinite shelf life. I have a popcorn popper, an air popper that I keep in the basement. I don't know if I will ever actually use that, but this has taken quite a while to sort out. On the bottom shelf to the left, I keep baking stuff, which I use. And to the right, I keep pasta in its various forms, which I also use. And on the floor, I have more tea on the left and primarily appliances such as an air pot, an extra crock pot, things rarely used that occupy much of the floor. That leaves very little discretionary space. Over the years, I've accumulated an impressive collection of beans. I don't use them often other than rice. Much of my cooking benefits from a half cup or a cup of rice being added to what I make. I have lentils that I make a few times a year, barley that I make less often than I should. It goes great with cholent. Split peas that are infrequently made, though I do like split pea soup. For as often as I use most of this, it probably does not need prime space either, except for the rice. With some effort, I've made serious progress, but my wife, as the consumer of the tea, will have to make those key decisions. As the balabusta of the kitchen, the rest is best taken over by me. Thank you very much for sharing this session of Dr. Plotzker's Mind.